Welcome to the City of Bakersfield Planning Commission meeting. This television broadcast is brought to you by the local cable companies, the County of Kern, and the City of Bakersfield. You can watch the rebroadcast of this meeting Saturday at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 10 a.m. The agenda for this meeting can be downloaded at www.bakersfieldcity.us. Presiding over this evening's meeting, Chair Daniel Cater.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to call to order the June 6, 2024 Planning Commission meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Chair Cater.
Here.
Vice Chair Strickland.
Here.
Commissioner Bashir Tosh.
Here.
Commissioner Biddle.
Here.
Commissioner Core.
Here.
Commissioner Coleman.
Here.
Commissioner Neal.
Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item 2, Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you all for attending tonight's Planning Commission meeting. This commission provides an opportunity for public participation in the development process throughout the city of Bakersfield. The Planning Commission considers a wide variety of projects, including subdivision maps, zone changes, general plan amendments, and much more. When applications are received, the City Planning Division analyzes the request. Planning staff will present the facts about the project along with their recommendation to the Planning Commission, who will approve an item or make a recommendation as appropriate. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda Item 3A, Public Statements.
In keeping with the City Council's new resolution, public statements are now received at different times depending on the item. I have just called Madam Clerk to call for public statements at the appropriate time, so please listen carefully on the correct time to speak. Does anyone in the agenda wish to address Commission regarding items listed on tonight's agenda? Please note, if you are here for consent public hearing 5A and 5B, now is not the time to speak. You will be given an opportunity to do so at a later date. Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Non-agenda Item 3B, Public Statements.
Does anyone in the audience wish to address the Commission regarding items not listed on tonight's agenda? If so, please come forward and state your name. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda Item 4, Consent Calendar Items.
Please note, all matters listed under the consent items do not require a public hearing and will be enacted by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion of said items unless staff or a commissioner requests specific items be discussed and or removed for separate action. May I get a motion approving consent item 4A?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Bashir Tosh. May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Core. Commissioners, please cast your votes.
Motion passes with Commissioner Neal absent and Vice Chair Strickland abstaining.
The abstention was Bashir Tosh.
I apologize. Motion passes with Commissioner Neal absent and Commissioner Bashir Tosh abstaining.
Thank you.
Apologize.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda Item 5, Consent Public Hearings.
Now is the time for consent public hearing items. If the item is not removed by a commissioner, staff, or a member of the public, the commission will vote on all items in one single motion without further comment. If an item is removed, it will be placed at the end of the non-consent public hearing items. At this time, I will open all of the consent public hearing items. Does any member of the public wish to remove a consent public hearing item? Please state your name and the item you wish to move.
Scott there with Castle and Cook. I'd like to remove item 5A, to discuss consideration of condition number 63, a modification thereof.
This is just to remove the item, and we'll have a hearing for that. Thank you. Are there any other members of the audience wishing to remove an item? Seeing none, does any commissioner wish to remove a consent public hearing item? Seeing no commissioner requests, at this time, consent public hearing item 5B is now closed, with 5A moving to the public hearing portion of the agenda. May I get a motion to adopt staff's recommendation on consent public hearing item 5B, incorporating all staff memorandum and revised staff recommendations?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Strickland. Commissioners, please cast your votes.
Motion passes for 5B with Commissioner Neal absent.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda item 6, non-consent public hearings.
Now is the time for consent public hearing items moved to the public hearing portion of the agenda, which is item 5A. Before we begin, I would like to explain how the hearing will be conducted. Staff will first give a report on the project, then those in favor will be allowed to speak. Those in opposition will be able to speak after all of those in favor have spoken. Each side will be provided a 5-minute total time to provide rebuttal comments. Individual speakers may ask questions during their statements, but the questions will not be answered until the public hearing on that item is closed. If you'd prefer, written comments may be given to the clerk, who will provide copies to the commission. Please remember to be respectful of all participating in the hearing, and please refrain from repeating the remarks of previous speakers and present any new information in a concise and clear way. Mr. Johnson, would you please provide us your staff report on item 5A?
Yes, I'd like to ask Noelle Topete to come forward and present this project. Would also recognize that Mr. Thayer indicated he'd like to discuss condition 63. So if you were to look at Exhibit A, page 13 of 17, condition 63 is at the top of the page, so that way you have reference of what Mr. Thayer would like to discuss.
Good evening. My name is Noelle Topete, Assistant Planner with the Development Services Department. I'm here to present Agenda Item 5A, Vesting Tentative Parcel Map 12514. Vesting Tentative Parcel Map 12514 is located at the northwest corner of Panama Lane and Gosford Road in southwest Bakersfield. The applicant is requesting a parcel map to subdivide 60.02 acres into 15 parcels for development of a commercial retail center in an M2 zone. As of today, staff has not received public comments on this map in response to the public hearing notice. A memo from the planning director was distributed to the commission today recommending changes to certain conditions. Staff recommends approval with conditions and incorporating staff's memorandum. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. The public hearing on this item is now open. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor of the project? If so, please step to the microphone, identify yourself, and proceed.
Scott there again, Castle and Cook, and it should be a short discussion, and it has to do with condition number 63. We've been talking with staff, and I think we're in agreement on this, but 63 references the MBHCP, and it just needs to be modified like the other conditions so that it's not referenced and we don't have an issue later on when this project gets approved. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers wishing to speak in favor of the project? Seeing no additional speakers in favor, is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to the project? Please, if so, please step to the microphone, identify yourself, and proceed. Seeing no speakers in opposition, does any commissioner have any questions for the public on this item? Please remember, or staff, please remember this is not the time to express any opinions on the matter, only time to ask questions. Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you. This question is to staff. What the heck? What's going on?
We are using an environmental document that was previously approved that included MBHCP. We took, when the application was submitted, the applicant requested certain conditions be modified. We did modify those conditions. This one was not requested to be modified, so it was not, it's a carryover from the previous environmental document. The changes that are being requested by Mr. Thayer, I can walk through that. If you have condition 63 ahead of you, the changes he's requesting do not make a difference in compliance with the Endangered Species Act.
So you're okay with the changes he's recommending?
That is correct, yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Okay. Commissioner Strickland.
Just for education, what is the change we're requesting specifically?
Specifically, if you have condition 63 in front of you, I can go ahead and explain, or I'll read through it so you know what the changes are. And again, I'll just read it how it states. So within 30 days of initial ground disturbance, pre-construction clearance surveys shall be conducted by a qualified biologist. And then we would strike the remainder of that sentence that says in accordance with the provisions of the MBHCP. So in essence, a qualified biologist is still required to conduct a survey. It would further go on to state any potential inactive or active kit fox dens identified as unavoidable be monitored, excavated, and backfilled in accordance with, and we would strike the recommendations of the MBHCP. So we would say in accordance with all guidelines, protocols, and other provisions of the CDFG, USFWS, Federal Endangered Species Act, and California Endangered Species Act. And again, the following would all remain also. Survey windows for the San Joaquin kit fox can occur at any time throughout the year. The survey shall be submitted to the City of Bakersfield Planning Department prior to approval of a grading plan. So we would just strike those references to the MBHCP. In essence, it doesn't change the requirement to protect the kit fox and comply with the Endangered Species Act, both federal and state.
So it's just 63, it's not 66 where it also references MBCHP, it's just that one conditional item?
Yes, that's correct. Condition 66 was part of the memo that we prepared to amend that.
Commissioner Strickland, do you have any further questions?
Just to clarify, yeah, I didn't, but I do. Just to clarify, on the memo, 66 is struck out and 64 is underlined because of the shifting for paragraphs.
Right, because of some of the previous,
Right.
yes, thank you for that question. Yes. Because of some of the previous amendments that are being proposed, there is subsequent renumbering that needs to be done. So condition 66 in the draft resolution is now 64 in the memo, and the final resolution will have that as 64. So you are correct, 66 is being amended to remove that MBHCP reference also.
Okay, cool.
Again, just a question. Is the Metropolitan Bakersfield Habitation Conservation Plan being reviewed, or is it an obsolete?
It has expired, but the city is exploring options to obtain a new incidental take permit with the state. But we're still working with the consultant and working with city council on that.
So in the absence of our own plan, do we have to defer to another jurisdictional standard?
Yes, the Federal Endangered Species Act and the California Endangered Species Act is what they must comply with right now.
Because in absence of a local
Correct. And really what we had was an incidental take permit, which means that they could pay fees to offset any take of land or potential take of land. And in this case, they will have to coordinate directly with the agencies, the wildlife agencies, for that permit, rather than going through the city.
Okay.
So what they're doing now is they've removed the middleman, which is the city, to work directly with the agencies. However, when the city had an MBHCP and incidental take, it could be considered more developer friendly.
Thank you for that clarification. Are there any other commissioner questions? Seeing none, we had no speakers in opposition, so I will elect to forego rebuttal period and close the hearing and return it to the commission for comment and action. All right, Commissioner Bashir Tosh.
I just wanted to make a motion adopting or with staff's recommended approval in the amendment strike through to the removal of the MBHCP on 63.
Thank you. I do have a speaker, Commissioner Cohen. Was this a...
Yeah, I was just going to comment that I'm really glad that Castle and Cook is taking this project. I feel confident that we're going to have a quality project at that corner. I think that corner could have went any way, and so I'm glad that a local developer is developing that based on Castle and Cook's track records. I'm confident that that community that's growing out there quickly will have a very nice shopping center. So I support Commissioner Bashir Tash's motion. Thank you.
Would you
So
also
I'll
say that you second
second
that?
that,
Yes, okay, thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. Commissioners, please cast your votes. Commissioners, please cast your votes one more time.
Motion passes with Commissioner Neal absent.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda item 7, communications.
Does staff have any communication items?
We will have a meeting on June 20th is our next meeting, and we will have a few projects that could be of interest that we will be discussing.
Thank you for that preview. We will all be at the edge of our seats till the 20th. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda item 8, commission comments.
Does any commissioner have any comments?
I do.
Commissioner Biddle.
This Saturday is our 4th annual Brundage Lane Navigation Center Pickleball and Music Festival at Jastrow Park, which they just did the ribbon cutting for the new pickleball courts. So if you've got time, come out and give us some support. It'll be benefiting the Open Door Network, Flood Ministries, Brundage Lane Navigation Center, and several other homeless services providers here in Bakersfield. So come out from 9 to 3. This Saturday. Jastrow Park, yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Were you nervous about the park, down to the wire for that opening, huh?
Yeah,
didn't
Mayor
they
Go, I
just
think
open
the
yesterday?
ribbon cutting was
Yeah.
Wednesday. I was like, oh goodness, but it's going to be here.
Well, we look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bashir, did you have a comment?
I just wanted to say thank you, Macy. You did a great job. Thank you for stepping up and helping out tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for... Well, and Commissioner Coleman did not request to speak, so that let the record be stricken that that comment was even suggested. All right, thank you for stepping in. We really appreciate it. Seeing no additional commissioner comments, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Agenda item 9, adjournment.
This meeting is adjourned at 5:49. Have a great evening.